Welcome to the Writing on My Mind podcast. This is where we discuss all things related to the doctoral journey. On this show, I share personal stories and bring some friends along for revealing conversations about their journey and provide inspiration for others to level up as doc students. I'm your host, Dr. Emmanuela Stanislaus. I'm a doctorate coach and diversity consultant. I finished my doctorate in 4 years while working full-time, traveling the world, and balancing a busy social life. And now I'm on a mission to create community for other women of color to complete their doctoral degrees. This is real talk to help you along your doctoral journey. Now, let's get to the show. Hello, and welcome to a bonus episode of the Writing on My Mind podcast. It has been a minute since I stepped behind the mic and would like to say that it feels good to be back, at least for this one bonus episode. I have been taking a much needed break. That's why you haven't heard from me. Hopefully you missed me. I know that I'm late, but Happy New Year. It's January 1st and I'm wishing you Happy New Year. But I was taught anytime you see someone for the first time, you should wish them Happy New Year. There isn't like a time to cut that off. So that's what I'm wishing for you. I hope that you are having a great year so far, the start of 2023. I don't know about you, but January has just flown by. I felt like I blinked and it was over. I don't know what that means for the rest of the year, but I am buckling up and I hope you are too, because I think it just means that it's going to be a fast one. Some of you are asking, when is season 4 coming? And I will say that it is coming soon. Like I said, I'm taking a little break, but I'm about to get everything together and I'm shooting for March 29th. That is the date. So stay tuned. We will have so much good, juicy conversations in season 4. Make sure that you're subscribed and that you tell your friends to subscribe, because that is how you'll get notified when a new episode comes out. Also, subscribing helps to tell the algorithms that you're enjoying the show and to share it with other folks. Like I said, we will have more guests sharing stories to help overwhelmed graduate students of color to thrive while pursuing their advanced degrees. While you wait, I want to encourage you to rate and review the podcast, since that also helps the algorithm to share the show with other graduate students. So thank you to those of you who've already done that. But yeah, while you're waiting for a new season to come out, rate it and review it. It would mean so much to me. If you haven't had a chance to complete the listener survey, you still have time to do so. I have included a link in the show notes for you. Let me know what guests you want on the show. What topics do you want to hear about? I have been looking at all of your comments, so I don't want you to think that you'll submit this survey and I won't look at them. I am looking at all of the comments, and what I've seen so far is an interest in more career development, conversations. Y'all want to know more about the publishing process and navigating department politics as women of color and Black women in general. So I've got you. We will be diving into those topics in season 4. Don't you worry. And if there are other topics, definitely make sure that you complete that survey to help me out and help yourself out so that we can explore those topics that you want. Again, the link is in the show notes. And like I said, I read each and every submission. So thank you for those of you who have taken the time to complete it. For this bonus episode, I thought that I would come on to continue from an episode that I did at the top of 2022, which was called Reflecting on the Ups and Downs of 2021. And that was one of the most downloaded episodes of 2022. And so I thought that I would just make that a tradition. So let's see how that goes. For those of you who didn't listen to that episode before, I'll go ahead and put a link in the show notes so that you can check that out. But I was basically just reviewing the past year, what went well, and also what I'm looking forward to. And I'm probably going to take like a different approach this go round, but I would totally encourage you to listen to that episode because, there's just a lot of things in there that I was sharing that really continued into 2022, especially when you think about like my consulting and coaching and all of those kinds of things. So definitely listen to that. And now I want to jump into what 2022 was like. I am firmly in a season of reflecting and setting intentions. And for those of you who have listened to the show, you would know that I love reflecting. I don't wait until the new year to go through the act of reflecting. I reflect on a daily basis. I even do a midweek reflection. I reflect weekly, monthly, quarterly, mid-year, and then I do a end of the year reflection. So all that to say, I love reflecting. I love taking account of my accomplishments, the struggles, as well as what I'm grateful for. And that's what I use the time of reflecting to do. These are practices that I started in graduate school to help me to be more grounded and to focus on the good, right? There's a lot of times where the bad things that happen to you or things that didn't go well, those are more pronounced. And because they're more pronounced, those hurt more. And it causes you to not be able to see and recognize the positives that are happening in the midst of some, bad things that are happening to you as well. And so that's why I love reflecting, because it just put things into perspective for me. And I would definitely encourage all of you to embrace the whole idea of reflecting and not waiting until the end of the year or whatever to do that. So since Thanksgiving, I have been in a state of reflecting and hibernation, and that was due to just a lot of change happening in 2022, some expected, some planned, some unexpected. And, I'm just wondering if any of you all can relate. I've really been trying to rest and reflect as we were closing out 2022. And some of what I will share for the rest of the episode will be some of those lessons that I've learned, as well as accomplishments that I'm proud of from 2022. So let's start with lessons learned. For me, 2022 was a roller coaster of a year for me. I had some incredible highs and some tragic lows, right? And, through it all, I am just trying to embrace it all, because this is all a part of life. It's all a part of our journey. And I also think, and I'm going to sound a little woo-woo here, but I think that through the ups and the downs, especially the downs, the universe is trying to teach you something. And I am trying to make sure that I'm prepared for that lesson. I'm trying to make sure that I take that lesson and apply it to my life, right? I don't want for things to happen in vain and for me to be unchanged by that, right? And to recognize that change, because sometimes you can change, but you're not necessarily aware of the change that's happening to you. And so that's what I'm trying to do. So one of the biggest lows for me was losing my father very suddenly at the beginning of August. Him leaving set my whole life on another course, and I'm still trying to make sense of all of it. One of the biggest lessons learned that I would share is that death is almost kind of and this is going to sound weird, but it is a precious gift, similar to life. But with death, for me, the gift that I think I received was to start living. And I think that might be a common theme that folks can learn from death, among other things. But the thing that I realize is that many of us aren't living. We're focused on things and freely give away our time to things that don't really matter at the end of the day. For example, if you knew that this year would be your last year as you know it on this planet, would you continue to navigate your day in the same way that you're currently doing it? Would you spend your time scrolling on social media? Would you sleep it away? Would you continue to show up to your current job? Would you not connect with the folks that you love? Would you keep doing the same things? Why and why not? For me, imminent death changes the way that you view your limited life and time on this planet. That's what my father's death did for me. It made me put into perspective the people and things that matter most to me. If I feel like saying something, I now say it. I used to, kind of just not be aware of those little things in your intuition or gut that comes up. And now I'm like, my eyes are open to all of it. If I get a feeling or if I, like I said, want to say something, I just go all in and focus on that because I don't know how much time the other person or myself has, right? So it's opening my eyes to look at time in a different way. I tell my people that I love them all the time now, right? And it wasn't always something that I did. If they run across my mind and I don't particularly feel like calling them, I pick up the phone and I call them. And the conversation that I typically have with them usually brightens both of our days. So that is something that I'm doing that is just more intentional. I just want to make sure that I limit regrets because regrets is a thing, right? For me, I just want to encourage you all to not let fear stop you from doing something that you're interested in exploring. Don't let someone's opinion of you or what you think they'll say keep you from pursuing something that you desire. So all of those kinds of things were kind of tied into like lessons learned in terms of not taking time for granted, not taking my people for granted, and making sure I'm doing an audit of my life to make sure that I'm living the life that I truly want to live. And that would be my kind of encouragement to you as well. The second low that I experienced in 2022 was experiencing burnout. Burnout is the word of the past couple of years, especially as people were exploring what the pandemic meant and all of that. But of course, it existed way before the pandemic, but just now becoming more, a mainstream topic. But I did experience burnout. Burnout led me to pursue a career change, which is going well. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But I talked a little bit about burnout in 2022. And if you listen to the review that I have of 2022, you would hear that I shared that I was reading the book Burnout by Amelia and Emily Nagoski. And I eventually had Amelia Nagoski as a guest in season 3, which was an amazing episode. I'll link it in the show notes if you didn't get a chance to listen to it, or if you want to re-listen to it because it's just that great of an episode. And many of you also shared that the burnout episodes were some of your favorites. But with myself and having those conversations with both Amelia as well as Arena Sargent, who we had on for 2 burnout episodes, that really helped me to institute some routines in my life when I start to feel the burnout cycle happening, how I could close the burnout cycle, and just really making some necessary changes so that my life is designed in a way that supports my mental health and happiness. So now on to some wins, which are also lessons as well. But my word for 2022 was thrive, and whoa, was that challenge this year. I'm sharing some of these wins and things in hopes that it will inspire you and your life. So the first one, and I have 6 to share, but the first one is the power of manifesting. I've always felt like I can manifest anything that I want in my life and use manifesting as a tool to help women of color graduate students that I work with to help them to realize the dreams that they have for themselves. In 2022, I was able to bring to life some changes that I really needed to make. If manifesting is a topic that you would like for me to discuss on the podcast, definitely let me know. I love talking about manifesting, and if you think that that would be in line with some of the topics that you want me to discuss, definitely share. So in 2022, I was able to manifest several books. First, I contributed chapters to 2 books. The first one was an academic book called Bridging Marginality Through Inclusive Higher Education. My colleagues and I wrote Click to Connect, an ethic of care approach to serving first-generation students online. And the second book was a trade publication called Our Doctoral Journey, a collection of Black women's experiences. And with this book, I wrote it with 24 other Black women, PhDs, and had a few of them on the podcast last summer to talk about the process of writing the book. I'll be sure to link to that episode in the show notes as well. And then I also manifested a third book, which is my ebook, Taking Charge, a career guide for graduate students. And I have loved all of the emails and messages that you have been sharing with me with your reactions to the book. I just recently received a message from Anna and thought I would share with you. And in her message, she shared that the book was easy to read, encouraging, and helps job seekers feel less alone in a daunting process, especially as graduate students. And for me, that meant so much because I really wanted this ebook to be accessible, especially since I don't really have the capacity to meet all of you one-on-one for coaching sessions. And so wrote the book so that it can get out to as many folks as possible and help you all with your job search process, whether you're currently in grad school, thinking about grad school, or have graduated. The contents and everything that I added to this book can help you throughout that journey. And so I'm so glad for what this means for you, because given the news of everything that's happening right now with folks being laid off, largely from tech companies, but other industries as well. And then the looming recession, whether we're in one or we're going into one, all of that is causing a lot of anxiety, and folks are thinking about what could their future look like. And so this book really does help you to get in the driver's seat of your career, especially now with all of the unknowns. So I've added a link in the show notes for you to get your copy if you haven't already done so. And I'll also put a link to all of the other books that I mentioned in case you want to learn more about them. But this was my first win that I wanted to share with you is just the power of manifesting. And hopefully, you all have seen the joys of manifesting as well. I know I was talking with someone the other day, and they were just sharing how powerful of a manifester I am. And so I want that for you all too. So the second thing that was a win for me, or a win or a lesson, is just recognizing that you are your most precious priority. And I definitely knew this before, but it was just really pronounced for me in 2022. And I would challenge you to ask yourself, how are you doing? How are you really doing, right? From my point of view, I would challenge you to think about what's keeping you out of alignment from the life that you want. Your job and purpose should be to be in alignment. I know personally, I changed my job after being in a toxic, non-supportive environment that was filled with micromanagement, a lack of trust, and just so much more that wasn't good for me. And I know that I needed to save myself because no one was coming to save me. And it's unfortunate given my long career in higher education and what I brought to the table, and that I was met with that in that environment. But I made my way out. I'm so much more happier and feel empowered in knowing that I'm in control, and you are as well. For me, I felt more in control, and I also was able to realize that I can change my circumstances, and so can you. So for you, is there something in your life that needs to be changed? Maybe it's not as drastic as what I had to do, but it may be something that is causing you a great deal of unhappiness, unfulfillment, or discomfort. I want to encourage you to put yourself first. Get comfortable saying no to things so that you can say yes to yourself. In 2022, I actually challenged myself to say no for a couple of months to focus on myself and better manage what was already on my plate. And you might be inspired to do the same thing yourself. I've found that too often women of color put themselves and their desires on the back burner to prioritize the needs of others, whether it's your spouse, your parents, siblings, children, or even coworkers. Let's stop ignoring our needs in 2023. Another piece to this was realizing that the true gift is living in the present. So, how are you living in the present moment? How are you taking in and savoring every moment? For me, that's what death taught me. In addition to prioritizing myself and all of those kinds of things, death taught me to live in the moment. I'm learning to put my phone down more. I'm learning to appreciate the small things and to do the things that bring me joy. I'm learning to put my phone down and be present in the moment and what's going on, whether I'm with a group of folks or if I'm by myself, right? Being alone with my thoughts, my feelings, processing different things. I'm learning to appreciate the small things, learning to do the things that bring me joy, and to focus on how I make others feel. Because at the end of the day, those are the building blocks to a good life and happiness and the things that matter. So I, again, want to challenge you to be in the moment, to prioritize yourself, because we only have this one life, right? And so let's start living in the here and now. So that was number 2. So on to number 3. Number 3, in terms of lessons learned, is celebrating. In 2022, I celebrated the 2-year anniversary of my business, Dr. Emmanuela Consulting, but also the podcast. In addition to celebrating these milestones, 2022 was my most profitable year, even though I was inactive for almost half of the year. With the podcast, I saw a 136% increase from season 2 to season 3 of the podcast, and that's in terms of downloads. So thank you to everyone who has shared, spread the word about the podcast. That is amazing. In 2022, I was all over the place as well. I was presenting, I was speaking virtually, and also catching flights for in-person talks, and those are back now that things are more open. I've been creating curriculum for corporate clients, which has been really fun too. And I've been selling these books that I mentioned earlier. So, again, thank you to everyone who has been super supportive, whether it's recommending me to an institution or a corporate partner, and again, sharing the podcast and things like that. And again, thank you to everyone who has supported the ebook, either buying it for yourself or buying it for your grad students, which a lot of you did. Thank you for just sharing the love, and I really, really appreciate it. I talk about the importance of your why all of the time on here, and using that as a guiding post for pursuing your advanced degree or pursuing a particular career or aligning yourself with a corporation that you want to work with. And the reason why I really talk about this all the time is because that's what keeps you going when things get tough, when you face challenges. Your why is what keeps you going. And for me, I keep going, and I am here today because I have a personal mission of increasing the number of women of color who are pursuing advanced degrees with confidence. According to the Urban Institute, 26% of graduate students end up dropping out. On top of that, 50% of doctoral students do not finish their programs, and that's according to the Chronicle of Higher Education. Additionally, Harvard Business Review shares that men apply for a job when they meet only 60% of qualifications, but women apply only if they meet 100% of them. And so all of these stats that I'm sharing keep me up at night, right? And I'm here to help support overwhelmed women of color graduate students who fear that pursuing their degree is a waste of time, and help them to feel confident about their decision to pursue their degrees, complete their degree with their sanity intact, and be strategic about tying their personal values and degree to the career that they want. That's what all of my offerings, like this podcast, my workshops, my coaching, books, whatever, all of those offerings are created to support and to increase the number of women of color who are pursuing advanced degrees with confidence. So to wrap that up, I have a lot to celebrate, and I have my mission to keep me going as well. And so that would be my win that I would share with you to continue to celebrate, because I'll have a lot to celebrate this year. And I hope that you are celebrating your wins, no matter how small or big they are, and that you are connecting with your why and allowing that to help you move forward. So that was number 3. Number 4, in terms of wins and lessons learned, is to seek help and the importance of seeking help. In 2022, I decided that I wanted to grow my business and just get more focused on my purpose, my goal, those kinds of things. And I decided to invest in a business coach to help me get clear about my business goals and branding. And I thought that that made the most sense, especially as someone who helps graduate students with their personal branding. I wanted some expert advice to help me to take my business to the next level. And so I worked with business branding expert Jakaya Brown-Taw, who I've known for years from my traveling blogging days. Through her branding boot camp, I was able to engage with a community of entrepreneurs from all over the planet. It was so great for my soul because, being a solopreneur, meaning that you're the only person in your business, can be a little, lonely. And so this group was there to just bounce ideas off of and just like get you hyped for the goals that you have for yourself. And so that was amazing. And so the key thing, the key takeaway from this is it's important to invest in yourself. By doing so, you can reach your goals quicker because you have a guide, and that guide has been where you are and can show you the way, right, to accomplish your goals. And through that, you'll be able to accomplish your goals faster and do so maybe in a bigger way than if you were to do it on your own. In terms of seeking help as well, I was able to switch therapists and also added a life coach to my care team. And both of these additions, changes, whatever, were able to help me to get over the hump. And so I would definitely encourage you to do an audit in your life and see what areas can you seek help to support yourself. What are some things that you can take off of your plate that you either don't like or aren't that good at that can help you feel more balanced with all of the things that you have going on, whether it's school, life, and in general. So that is number 4 in terms of life lessons, which is seeking help and the value of that. Number 5 is realizing more and more like the value and importance of community. And I talk about this all of the time. Like I share how valuable community is, but particularly for 2022, I was really amazed and just proud of how my community was able to support me during one of the hardest times of my life. And as I'm coming out of my cocoon, because I was in a cocoon after like everything happened, recently I met with one of my sorority sisters and her husband and her 2 kids, and it just did something for me. And for me, it was just great being surrounded by people who loved me, who I loved as well. And for me, I just have this goal of being a better friend. I'm asking myself, how can I show up for people in a way that shows that I appreciate them, in a way that honors the history that we have? And I am really encouraged by this because I couldn't have made it through, 2020 without my community. And when I think about it, I couldn't have made it through my master's program and certainly not my doctoral program without a supportive group of people who loved me, who prayed for me and checked in on me and all of the things. I'm encouraging you to focus on your community, your tribe, your village, squad, whatever you want to call it. If you don't feel like you're tapped into a community, you're not alone. I've been guilty of this myself. And in fact, many people feel this way. There's research out there that shows that we are more connected than ever with, the advances in technology and social media, but more and more people are sharing that they have a sense of being alone or disconnected. So my advice is reconnect with someone who you haven't spoken to in a while, maybe attend an event, and be intentional about meeting someone with the hopes of fostering a friendship. If you're wanting to create new friendships, put yourself out there, make time for others, and be the friend that you want. And the universe will reward you by bringing people into your life that can be the friend that you are as well. And I've said it many times before, through your community, you will be able to get the support that you need, the love that you need to carry you through life's ups and downs. So that was one of the things that I was reminded of again in 2022 is just the importance of community. And then lastly, my last win/lesson learned is don't underestimate the power of a good morning and night routine. So last year in that recap of 2021, I shared how my morning routine involved waking up and choosing a word of the day and then I would journal about that word and then come up with affirmations that would support the word of the day. But now I've kind of evolved slightly given my new promise to prioritize myself along with flexibility related to working from home. And so now I wake up, I give thanks and pray. I make sure that I drink a glass of water before I eat anything to help with digestion. That's supposed to be good for you. And then I typically will meditate and do yoga, or I'll go for a walk and meditate. So one of those combinations, and then I'll journal. And doing all of those kinds of things like really helps me to prioritize myself in terms of this is important and wanting to start the day off on a positive note. And it sets the stage for just a productive day. And then for my nighttime routine, I'm still trying to figure out what that looks like. But for now, I'm really looking at putting parameters about like how late I eat. So eating and drinking, doing that before 8:30 p.m. That's one piece. Also journaling at the end of the evening and then reading right before going to bed. So all of that, again, is still being refined as it relates to the nighttime routine. The morning routine is pretty set, but the nighttime routine, I'm still tweaking that. But I would encourage you all to try and figure out what a good morning routine is for yourself. What's a good nighttime routine, right? I think the other piece to the nighttime routine for me is like, okay, I know I'm going to be doing these things in the morning. So setting aside my workout clothes so that I don't have to think about it in the morning, but also so that I don't, decide that I don't want to do it because it's like this friction of trying to find what to wear, right? And so how do you make it easy for your future self to do what it is that you want to do? So that would be my gift to you in terms of like a lesson that I learned that really is helping me now with finding productivity and setting myself up for success in the day. So that is everything. Those are my wins for 2022 and practices that I hope to continue in 2023 and beyond. Just to share, my word of the year for 2023 is abundance. And I chose that so that I can really concentrate on the things that I have in my life that make me happy versus concentrating on the things that I don't have, which would be more of a scarcity mindset, right? And so I'm looking forward to in 2022, I'm looking forward to slowing down and resting more. I am looking forward to more personal and professional growth, but without the hustle and sacrificing my health and happiness. And I'm also hoping this for you as well. More abundance to you. And like I said, that is the opposite of scarcity. And I've shared affirmations on the podcast before, and I'd love to close out with some affirmations for you in line with the whole abundance theme. So here we go. I live in abundance. I want for nothing. I attract abundance. I have enough time and resources to accomplish my heart's desires. I am full of life, love, wisdom, integrity, energy, and so much more. There is no struggle here. There is no lack, only abundance. So that's it. Abundance to you all. I will see you on the next episode, which more than likely won't be until season 4. Also, as a reminder, don't forget to fill out the listener survey if you haven't already done so. The link is in the show notes. It would mean the world to me if you can fill that out and help me plan out the content for season 4. Also, I want to invite you to join my email list if you haven't already done so. Joining my email list means that you'll get updates that I don't necessarily share anywhere else, along with grad school tips. I'll go ahead and add a link for you to join the email list in the show notes as well. And that is all for the show. See you on the next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Writing on My Mind podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast, make sure you follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts, rate the show, and leave a comment on Apple Podcast. You can also donate to the show by clicking the support link in the show notes. Your donations help me to continue to put out new episodes to help support you and other women of color doctoral students. I'd also love it if you could spread the word to other women of color doctoral students to grow our community. Be sure to also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Dr. Emmanuela. That's DrEmmanuela. See you on the next episode.